Listen up. Do you know that some of our electrical power grids are 60 years old? 60. The power plants, they are 60 years old. This nation's democracy is about 30 going on 35 years old, right? Meaning that at the time of inheriting government from the apartheid government, the electrical infrastructure was about 30 years old, and it only had literally about 5 kilometers worth of mileage left on it. My goodness, they were a wicked regime. But one thing that they did for the old South Africa was build housing with proper materials, okay? In that houses don't fall apart. Like, go to any one of these properties. Goodness, I'm gonna get to the point. All right, these new sectional titles that are being built all over the show, that are to accommodate basically the influx into the previously white areas from the Group Areas Act, previously non-white areas. Like, the suburbs of South Africa have been influxed into by blacks, colors, and Indian people, where historically only white people could live there. So if you were to go to Rosebank, the flats, the sectional titles there, the space and the quality of wood, the quality of the mortar and the brick, the durability of the homes is just like astronomical through the roof. And again, like I said, the space, the amount of space that you get in an apartment is just out of this world. So that's why those flats in Rosebank are still so expensive. They're huge, larger even than some houses that stand on their own. Those were the homes of the regime that came and left, that was very oppressive against minority groups. Now, when there was an influx of people after the Group Areas Act was repealed, I guess all of apartheid died, right? And all the acts that fell under it died. Black people, colored people, Indian people, and they then were able to move in from the areas where they could only live, because it was a segregationist regime where blacks had to stay in a black township, colors had to stay in a color. You get my point, right? Yeah. So when then the laws were eradicated, and then employment opportunities made it feasible or possible for expensive households to be afforded by the previously disadvantaged groups, they started to mass emigrate from their place and immigrate into the new space, a mass exodus out of their townships or their historically clumped regions into the suburbs that were filled with white people. And they initially first inherited the houses that the white folk would sell to them, but then as time progressed, because there weren't enough of them to populate those regions, like there in Rosebank, those flats that I've just spoken about right now, they then started to, of course, real estate burgeoned. It boomed, where property was being developed from scratch for the influx of blacks, coloreds, Indians that were coming into the previously white areas. And what happened with that, you guys, underestimation and ridiculousness and jealousy and an unwillingness to let go of old habits, because they die hard, can cause people to really just sit in a horrendous capacity. They saw that there was a massive market that could be tapped into, and so they started to build these little cocoons. Frankly, that's what I call